So, Wendy and I were talking about doing a video, and we decided on the topic of clarity. Well, I should say she did. Anyway, so tonight's topic is about clarity. We're going to keep this pretty short and interesting. So, sort of the way that we see clarity, especially in times of confusion, is you got to have your priorities straight, right? First three things we rattled off together when we were thinking about priorities and clarity is spouse first, relationships first, if that's a spouse that you're married to now or not, family second, and work third. And probably in those orders, at least for us, that's where the priority level lies. Obviously, God reigns all through all three of those, and so the verse that we came up with, that came to mind, that kind of will reign over all three of those subjects is 1 Peter 4:8, right? Above all else, keep loving one another earnestly, for love covers a multitude of sins. And so I'll just ask you, Wendy, what do you think of when you hear that verse?
Well, I believe that even though it sounds a little overdone, if you will, that love has to be what you're striving for, particularly when you're not feeling it. That's the reason why I thought of clarity, because we're on swings right now, because anybody who knows me knows that I love swings, and as an adult I actually believe that I clear my mind almost every time I'm on a swing. And with love in particular, if you're feeling unloved or you're feeling as though the environment around you needs more of positivity, I believe that love absolutely is something that you have to be creative sometimes when you're choosing to show it, and getting to a spot where you can be clear on what's preventing you from either giving it or allowing to be loved is huge.
It's interesting that you say it that way, because it brings my mind to something I wrote today, posted on LinkedIn, and published an article where I was using the verse 2 Timothy 1:7. God did not give you a spirit of timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. And for me, when I read it this time, if you guys get a chance to read it in the article, those are really, for me, were the antidotes on how to remain calm in a stressful situation, right? We weren't given fear. That comes from Satan. And so how do you overcome fear? Well, you use the power God put within you, the Holy Spirit, through love and self-discipline. So it's funny that you say if you focus on love as a tool, all else will fade. And the other thing that I thought of when you were saying that is absolutely swinging is something that makes you. Yesterday, you guys didn't get to see. We've been trying to go on a walk because of these times. Just get out and get some nervous energy out. And I came out because they were all waiting on me. That's not abnormal. And Wendy was on that swinging all the way up to the ceiling and back down. And as soon as I caught her, she got this little schoolgirl grin on her, and I was like, okay, I better get off. And she scooted off. So she was breaking her stress through the power within her, showing love to herself, which is not a bad thing, by doing what you know you need to do. And with the kids, she was with them.
Yeah.
And using self-discipline to get out of it. All right.
Yeah.
So second subject or priority is family, right? And certainly the 1 Peter 4:8, above all else, love one another, it comes into play there. But Wendy came up with this idea of trust your instincts, right? So I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we obviously are rooted with what we believe in our strength, in our faith. And so for us, when we trust our instincts, that means that we trust what we have been given, our innate abilities, our spiritual strengths, and the things within our personality that have been intentionally and purposefully put within us, and we cannot ignore it, whether it's your own feelings from within, or it's God that is putting something right in front of you. With your instincts, you have to be able to build up different resiliencies, and with our family, we have to be able to trust when our family is pulling us away from particularly the priority that should be below, which is our career. Right now, when we're working from home, I have to be able to put boundaries, right? Different things on my door that indicates I'm on a video call, or I am unable to be interrupted. But we also have
Or lock your husband out of his room,
right, that too.
so he can't even go get his clothes or anything he needs.
Whatever, whatever,
That's
you
putting
know.
boundaries up for sure.
Absolutely. But I also really have to trust what is within. And if I have been on back-to-back video calls or just phone calls, and I can open the door, and so if I get a phone call again or I'm on my computer, at least it's open, and so I can allow for, you know, the kids to come in if they do need to address something that they're concerned with school. You know, we have 4 that are using online tools, and it's not as easy for them to be on video calls and those types of things as it is for us, which is somewhat of a normal day. So
Yeah, today I had to uninstall spyware on our computer because one of the kids clicked on a pop-up ad. The new things we're learning, which leads us to another piece to the family subject, is listen to the times and use them. I think when Winnie started talking about the family subject and said, listen to your instincts, it made my mind go to this, because even in like being forced to be home with our kids, I can find myself sticking myself at my computer trying to maximize from a work perspective what's going on, right? Never before have I had people glued to their own desktop, especially the senior vice presidents and customer chief executive officers that I work with. Like, so I'm trying to maximize that and jump on that opportunity, but in doing that, I got to be careful of, I really believe God's telling us to spend more time with our families right now. Like, how else could he tell us that, right?
right.
You don't get to go to sports, you don't get to go to theaters, you don't get to go anywhere. I want you to stay still and listen to me and listen to what I've given you, which I think family is a huge tool for us to get through stressful situations, including item number 3 priority, which is work. And probably why they fit in that order if your priorities are straight. Don't get us wrong, we love the salaries that we get paid, we love the organizations we work for, we're very blessed, but for us the balance is family, spouse, family, and then work. So work, again, trust your instincts. You want to talk a little bit more succinctly about that with that work? I know boundaries, you kind of mentioned, you kind of already covered that a little bit, but.
Yeah, but you know, do what you can. Don't get overwhelmed by what you can't control. I was just telling the kids a few days ago that when I find them most in angst, I guess, with one another, with their own routine, it's because they're getting overwhelmed with things that they can't control, right? So, you know, with work, it's very easy to get overwhelmed with a certain timeline that you had as an expectation prior to this working from home condition. And there are so many things underneath the story that you might not know are affecting your clients or whoever you have a certain expectation of. So not getting overwhelmed, for me at least, has been huge all the way through talking with my colleagues and you know, with clients, but really trying to connect first with what you know you can control, and then not getting distracted by the stuff that you can't.
And I think this is certainly, hearing we talk right now, this is why God gives us spouses. For me specifically, is why God gives me Wendy. To assume that other people might be in a different situation that causes them to react the way they do is something that's not innate or intrinsic to my DNA.
Yeah.
Anyone that knows me that. So the more I live with her, 17 years of marriage, is the more I've known her for 24 years, 20 some, more, maybe more. I might be getting my foot in my mouth, people, but she continually reminds me of that. Like, you don't know what they're going through. And this situation that we're all in with COVID-19, like, who knows what someone else is going through at home? They could have been laid off, and that could be the least of their worries. Like, what if someone has the virus, right? My uncle's got a good friend of his that has it, and he's 79. So our thoughts and our prayers are going to him, but for my uncle, that's something very real, that he probably reacts differently to his wife and his customers when he's on edge. So yeah, something certainly having priorities in sequence. If I focus on you first and you help me with that, then it will help me with family and with work.
Yeah.
So. Okay, yeah, the only other thing I would add to that is do what you can, right? It could be worse. For me, the way I'm wired, like I was just telling you, it also helps me get my ass back together and in gear. If I say, dude, it could be worse. Like, we've been through unemployment. We aren't right now, thank goodness. We're grateful for the jobs we have. But like the things we just listed, someone else could be sick in our family. Our parents could have gotten it. Someone so many other situations. Be grateful for where we're at. Focus on what you can. And then I'll just end in saying this. Right now we have a great leader in our division, John Toomey. He constantly reminds our entire division in the named elite. He calls it control the things you can. Like, he understands there's things we can't do right now, but control what you can, and focus on where you can, and you'll come out ahead at the end. So it's always a good message to hear.
Yeah. And also, like, as we wrap up the idea of clarity, you have to be able to take some time out of these relationships, family and work, to make sure your own mind is clear. So that means taking care of your own health, taking care of the things that make you feel your best self. So that's going to look different for all of us. Obviously, as you can see, for me, I do get clarity by getting some fresh air and spending a little fun doing what I grew up doing when I could.
Listen, we love all of you. Thanks for listening and watching. You guys have anything we can help you with, feel free to shoot us an email, call us, text us. Bye now.